Today we're seeing positive price action so far with Tesla stock, while simultaneously seeing that the fear and greed index is ticking up a bit. While we're still in the extreme fear section of things, we're still doing better than where we were a week ago. Now, seeing Tesla stock push up today makes complete sense considering the fact that this morning in the Push and Profit private group, before the market opened at 9:29 a.m., I highlighted that interest rates, the US dollar, and oil are currently the key factors in play and have all pulled back considerably this morning, which could offer some relief in the markets. In fact, if we take a look at the 10-year treasury, we do see it start cooling off a bit after coming off some recent highs. In addition to that, today we had the ADP job numbers, which is the private job numbers that come out before the job numbers that we get from the government this Friday. And in fact, we saw that the US private sector employment rose just by 89,000 in September, which shows that the labor market is chilling off just a bit. And of course, this is a good sign for the overall markets because we know that the feds are wanting to see the labor market cool off a bit. And so this job report shows a little bit of relief, as this is the precursor to the government numbers that we get on Friday once again. So we're going to want to pay attention to what happens on Friday. But along with that, we also have some positive Tesla news to share with you guys. For example, we have Sawyer Merritt, who recently tweeted that the Tesla Model Y was the third best-selling car overall and the #1 SUV in Australia for the month of September. So we're getting some positive macroeconomic data as well as just some positive news for Tesla overall. In fact, if we take a look at X.com, formerly known as Twitter, you'll see that a lot of images are surfacing about a Cybertruck sighting at the Starbase, just kind of giving us a little bit of a tease that perhaps the Cybertruck launch is coming soon. But with that said, I want us to hop into my laptop and I want to cover a few additional details in regards to Tesla stock. Alrighty, so we are taking a look at Tesla stock today, and we see that Tesla is pushing upwards today. We're finally having some momentum. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Tesla stock from a longer perspective, but I just real quickly want to share my insights on what I see in the short term real quickly. So let's go ahead and actually start off by just mapping up from the open of the day to the peak. So about 4.35%. So definitely great. Again, we're seeing momentum for Tesla. If we zoom out to a 4-hour time frame, I have this red rectangle over here, which I labeled as a supply zone for Tesla. And the reason I say this is because we see that in the past, it's been an area of resistance over here. Of course, it's also been an area of support, and old support becomes resistance. And of course, we have this little volume pocket when we look at the volume profile of volume relative to price. So I expect that once Tesla goes around over here, some selling pressure is going to start coming in, which is going to stifle Tesla from going upwards in the short term, meaning for today, right? And also, one of the things I want us to understand is that at the end of the day, technical analysis, right? Just drawing squiggly lines on a chart, that's not going to tell you anything, right? Many people have this misconception that technical analysis is used to predict the markets. That's absolutely wrong. That could be the furthest from the truth. It's really just to map out what is currently happening, right? So it kind of just shapes and helps us identify what's taking place. And so what I'm seeing over here in the short term is I expect Tesla to not, just continuously go up. I mean, although it'd be amazing if Tesla just continuously went up, I don't expect this green momentum to carry through for the end of the day. Of course, you guys, if you're watching this video, after the market closes, which is 3 hours from where I'm currently recording, you guys let me know, did Tesla break above over here, or did we actually start kind of cooling off the momentum here? Of course, if we do have some catalyst news that could push Tesla up, like I don't know, maybe Cybertrucks actually start getting delivered today and that announcement comes up, of course we could see Tesla have a little bit of a pop up if there is some catalyst news. But without any news, I don't expect much more for Tesla going forward. But I want us to pay attention to something else now, right? So let's go ahead and get away from the charts. As you guys often know, I don't put too much emphasis on squiggly lines, and I put much more emphasis on fundamentals, right? A lot of people seem to skip over the fundamentals. That's primarily the reason why market participants put capital in the markets. It's not just because of squiggly lines, but it's more because they want to get a return on their investment. And so you have to understand how the business is doing. And so fundamentally, we do get an update fairly soon. We're gonna have the third quarter earnings for Tesla come out. Of course, I will keep you guys updated on that. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing so that you guys get updated when I make that announcement or that video talking about the third quarter earnings, because that's definitely something that we want to pay attention to. As last quarter, when we had the earnings, I believe it was on the 19th. Let's go ahead and look at a daily view. They'll actually give us a better look. So it was on the 19th, 7/19/2023. That's when I made the video talking about the earnings for the second quarter. And of course, I highlighted that Tesla was going to do much more worse, as profit margins was a big concern. And we saw Tesla stock sell off, drastically, and then eventually we did see some buying pressure around over here, which I actually called out a month earlier. I remember talking about that. Individuals did not believe that Tesla was going to sell off this hard, and I said we wanted to pay attention to this early 200 level, and that's exactly what happened. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, just as a friendly reminder, although I'm flattered that you guys think that the analysis I do has some type of mystical element. There's much more to that, right? And that's oftentimes, again, the fundamentals and the macroeconomic data, which I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit further in this video, looking at some macroeconomic data. But real quickly, before we even highlight some of the macroeconomic data coming out this week, I want to just quickly glance back to what we talked about yesterday, which was the job openings, which came out at exactly 10. And let's go ahead and look at a 1-minute chart and actually zoom into this. We see that yesterday, exactly at 10, you see that Tesla started selling off, and this wasn't just the Tesla stock and silo. This was actually the overall market. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 index ETF. I talked about this in yesterday's video, where pretty much the minute that report came out, we had some bad news and we saw the market sell off. And this is why the labor markets specifically, right? Of course, there's a whole bunch of macroeconomic data rolling out, but I said to the Push and Profit private members, and I've also said publicly here on YouTube in a few videos, that right now the labor data, the labor market, job data is what's going to be primarily driving the markets, as well as the 10-year treasury, oil prices, the US dollar. I mean, there's a couple of things moving the markets, but primarily the big focus is on the labor market, because that has kind of an indication of what monetary policy is going to do. And we know that monetary policy has a huge influence on the markets. If you guys have been following my channel, then you guys know that pretty much monetary policy has a huge flow of the direction for the markets. If you look at the pandemic times, when interest rates were historically low, we had money flowing out from stimulus. You see a whole bunch of stocks that had no business to fundamentally be trading high rise up, such as SPCE. I mean, a lot of these SPAC companies, a lot of these garbage companies that weren't going to survive otherwise did well, and then once reality hit, well, we see that they're becoming penny stocks. I mean, if we take a look at, let's quickly just deviate. Let's look at Lucid real quick. Lucid is one of them. Look at that. About 50 cents of being the actual definition of a penny stock by the SEC, because it's right now currently $5 and below is considered a penny stock, and this is where Lucid is at. But if we take a look during 2021, when everything was going up, I mean, look at that. It was flying up. But of course, this isn't a company that is fundamentally strong like Tesla. Now, I'm not saying that Tesla doesn't have any weakness. We're going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit further in this video. But of course, it is much more fundamentally sound. But let's go ahead and actually dive into some of the macroeconomic data that we want to pay attention to. So, for example, this week, or tomorrow, we're going to have the initial jobless claims. This is a weekly report that comes out. And basically, it's not unemployment. It's basically people filing for unemployment. So we're going to want to pay attention to that data coming out tomorrow at 8:30. And then more importantly, the big data for this week is going to be Friday, October 6th. This is when the U.S. unemployment or the employment report, as well as the unemployment rate, as well as the U.S. hourly wages, a whole bunch of job data comes out. Now, today we did get the ADP report that we talked about in the beginning of this video, showing that it came down below what was expected. And so we're kind of seeing from the private job sector that things are cooling off, but we have seen in the past where there has been some sort of divergence from the private job sector and then the government numbers. Now, some individuals speculate that maybe the government numbers aren't accurate, right? Of course, we're not going to go there. That's a deep route. We're not going to go ahead and talk about conspiracies, because that's not what we're here for, right? We're just looking at the data, and solely purely on the data. Where we're going to want to pay attention to is the job data. We're going to want to see, and of course, I have to put a asterisk on this, a little disclaimer, right? Because of course we don't want to see the job market capitulate, because then that would reflect on the economy not doing well. We want to see the economy still doing okay, but the Fed, what they want to do is they want to see the labor market stifle. I can't stress this enough, right? Because they have a dual mandate. they have maximum employment as one of their mandates, but their first mandate is price stability. And so this confuses a lot of individuals, because when the Fed says that they want to see the labor markets contract, it almost sounds contradicting where they, to one of their mandates about maximum employment. And that's why in the previous video I talked about the economic model of the Phillips curve. I'm not going to go there in today's video because we talked about that recently. Just subscribe to the channel, consider joining the Push and Profit private group if you want more insight on that. But what we want to see is just a little bit more of a cool off in the labor market. And so this is what we're going to want to pay attention to. With that said, I want us to look at this little blog over here by the Blubber, or Unusual Whales, where this is just an article from CNBC that they're just kind of re-uploading, where it says the average monthly payments for new vehicles reached a record of $738 in August. Now, a key thing that we have to understand with this blog, or this recycled article over here, because this came out in September, we should be getting an update for what the numbers are for September, as these are the numbers for August. But the key thing that we want to pay attention to is average monthly payments. So this isn't just the monthly payments on individuals who are spending ridiculous money on luxury vehicles like the new BMW or the new Audi or the new Mercedes or whatever luxury vehicle you're into, right? This is the average. And so this is a huge concern for Tesla stock. And this is why when I say I'm bullish on Tesla stock, but the short term isn't that great, it's because one of the things we have to understand is that interest rates are just ridiculous. They're just way too high, to a point where even if you have stellar credit, I have an 825 credit score last time I checked. I check this almost every day, by the way. But even with a stellar credit score like mine, I still would pay a high interest rate for a new vehicle. And so this is why I don't have any intention to buy a new vehicle. I mean, at this point, it's just probably cheaper to finance a horse than actually finance a new car. And so this is kind of bad for Tesla stock from just an economic perspective, because although Tesla, they're doing whatever they can to stifle demand. They're doing these price cuts. They're making the next generation vehicle, which should be coming out soon. And when I say soon, I mean probably 2025, which is going to be much more cheaper, and that's going to help out. I think Tesla stock going into 2025, 2026, all the way to 2030 is going to be a stock that's going to perform astronomically well. And I think everyone who's going to be patient is going to be rewarded very well. But right now, for the time being, we're not at a good area over here, right? When interest rates are so high, when I just saw an article the other day where someone financed a 1998 Honda, and they're paying just a ridiculous car payment every month. I don't even know how the car dealership even managed to do that, or if they have a credit score of like 0, right? But the point I'm trying to say is that right now, getting a new car is really difficult for the consumer, especially since we've seen pandemic savings deplete. And overall, just everything's been going upwards. And so this is not good. But one thing we have to understand is that the economy is very cyclical. It's not like one thing lasts forever, right? Remember the bull market. The bull market lasted, I was blessed to be a part of the last bull market. I got into the market. Let's actually zoom. Let's take a look at SPY over here. I started investing and trading trading in 2017, investing in 2016. So I got into the markets around over here. And of course, this was the pandemic over here, but we recovered very quickly. I was blessed to, and of course, it's not because I timed the market with my investments. Of course, it's time in the market, right? But I got in one of the best bull markets that we ever had in history. And of course, right now we're still in a secular bear market, but eventually that's going to reverse. Eventually things are going to start trending and reversing, and we're going to go back into a bull market. And those who are patient to be in great companies that actually have sound fundamentals like Tesla and are doing things to make sure that they stay ahead of the curve. We see legacy automakers like Ford. Let's actually take a visit on Ford, just out of curiosity. Yeah, that's what I thought. But these legacy automakers are suffering and they're losing money in the EV space. And right now, Tesla is positioning itself to be much more greater in the future. And so I think those who are patient to really wait out this bad time are going to be rewarded eventually. It's just, you have to be patient. So that's why I'm still bullish on Tesla in the long term, despite that sometimes I may be shorting Tesla. For example, if we go back here, we see that, look, it hasn't even we still have 2 hours and a half before the market closes. But like I said, I don't expect the momentum for Tesla to really break above over here. We're seeing it kind of spike down over here. Let's actually look into a 5-minute view. We'll see. Maybe if there's a catalyst, I could be completely wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, if Tesla did hit this area right over here, and you know, we start to see yields again start increasing, which I expect should be coming back soon. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. Then I'll short Tesla in the short term, and only shorting it to hedge my long-term portfolio. I know when I say I'm shorting Tesla, individuals just get insanely upset with that, but you have to understand that many market participants use some sort of hedging for their long-term portfolio, whether that's buying puts as an insurance, selling calls, or shorting shares in a trading account, whatever it may be. You know, it's just something you could do. Of course, not something you have to do. You should only do whatever you see value in. And so, you know, from the short term, I may short Tesla if we just kind of go a little bit higher and we see an opportunity to short. But in the long term, I'm not seeing any area for me to actually add into my long-term portfolio. Not just yet, but I'll keep you guys updated for when I do see an opportunity for me to start adding in, right? That's something I kept you guys updated last time we saw Tesla stock start showing an uptrend or confirmation of an uptrend. I told you guys I was adding into my long-term portfolio, and I'll keep you guys updated when I do it again. Of course, you guys should not follow me. You shouldn't follow any fund manager, any other YouTube, any other you know, person on X, or formerly known as Twitter, whatever platform you see guys talking about Tesla or any other stock. Only do whatever you see value in. But with that said, let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Tesla in the short term and in the long term? What are your thoughts on the economy? And also make sure to watch this next video right over here, where I talk about why I don't trade penny stocks or invest in penny stocks. And if you saw that video, then make sure to check out this video right over here. Take care, guys.